Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fabulous Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining me for Try It Out Tuesday. Well, today we're trying out spotlight stamping. We're using some background stamps from Stampendous. These are available at Spellbinders and they're super pretty. This is the Agapanthus background stamp. This is what it looks like. It's a gray rubber. Has a foam pad here. And I thought we would do this with a little bit of masking. And then we have this one, which is called Leafy Vines. And the neat thing about Leafy Vines is there's an element that pops out. And I thought we would make this the spotlight element inside of a window or a frame on our card today. So we'll be doing two different spotlight techniques. And I'm not really big on techniques, so we're just going to call them card projects. Because sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. But we're going to jump in and get started by doing some heat embossing. For the Agapanthus, I'm going to bring in some teal colored cardstock. And what I like to do is place my cardstock. We're actually going to add some adhesive behind here. And then with the adhesive side up, I'm going to place it on my background. And then I'm going to bring over my back side of the MISTI, press down really good, and this way I know my cardstock panel exactly where I want it. Now I'm going to treat my paper with my anti-static powder tool. And then I'll go over my Agapanthus. I'm going to use Versamark ink for this image. I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to bring in my stamping press here. And then I'm going to ink up one more time because there's a lot of detail in here and I just want to make sure that I have it all inked up here. Now I'm going to lift up my panel carefully. We have it stuck down pretty good. And then I'm going to bring in some gold embossing powder. And I'm going to add this to my background images. I'm going to use my heat gun and we're going to go ahead and melt all this embossing powder. And then this one's all done. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this one and then we're going to bring in our leafy vine here. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder for this too. So treating the paper with anti-static powder and then doing the same thing with our Versamark ink. We're just going to go over our image. Okay, we'll press down really good. And I'm going to go over this with my gold embossing powder also. I think this would be really pretty with white. So this one's almost done. I still have to melt it. I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to remove the stamp here. I'm going to bring in another piece of green cardstock. We'll just tack this down here. And then I'm going to stamp this piece. Here. I'm going to treat my paper. Add my watermark. Press down really good. And I'm going to go over this with my gold embossing powder also. And then we'll melt both of these panels. Now my embossing is all done. I'm not going to use this panel right now, but I am going to use both of these. Before I use this one, I do want to trim it just a little bit. I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch off of the bottom. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to trim a 1/4 inch off of this side. This is going to leave me a little bit of a border on my card base. Okay, now with this panel, I'm going to bring in some Post-it tape. If you wanted to use a thick washi tape, you could do that. Or any low tack tape. This is a 1 inch wide tape. This was actually from Spellbinders. Fun Stamper's Journey carried it. I stocked up on it because I really loved it, but Spellbinders doesn't sell it anymore. They have the best ever craft tape, but any kind of post-it note tape you have would work. Okay, I'm going to mask this off. And then I'm going to use my alcohol markers. I have these teal ones for this one, and then I have these green ones for this one, and I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to speed up the video, play a little music for you, and when I'm done coloring, I'll catch you back. I'm going to be using my Pinkbrush Studio turquoise ink, and since we have the masking paper on here, or the post-it note tape, what I'm going to do is lightly go over the edges. Just on the edges. I don't want to interfere with my marker coloring here. But even if you go over it lightly, it will really highlight and spotlight that image. So just very lightly go over around the edges. Now with this, I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to fussy cut out around the edge. And then I'm going to take this panel. I'm going to use some green ink. This is Pinkbrush Studio's Grassy Knoll. And I'm going to go around the edges of my panel here. This was actually really easy to fussy cut around. I just left a little bit of a border here. I'm going to put these to the side, and then we are going to remove. Okay. Then we have that center area highlighted. I think that looks really pretty. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, and I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. I went ahead and removed the release paper off of my foam tape, and now I'm going to take some of my Spellbinders twine. This is the white one, and I thought we would kind of do a little crisscrossing here. I want it to go over the top, kind of tie a knot, and then I want it to go along the bottom edge here. Kind of wrapping it like you would a present. Okay, and then we're going to place this on the front of our card base. Just tack that down. I'll trim the twine a little bit. For my grading, I'm bringing in a die set designed by Simon Hurley for Spellbinders. It's the handwritten sentiments, and I think we're gonna die cut out Happy Birthday. Since it kind of looks like a gift, we'll get birthday and happy, and I'm gonna die cut out the Happy Birthday with the same color cardstock, and then I'll do the shadow with white. Now I'm going to use some of my post-it note paper here, and then I'm going to use one of the markers that I use for the darker area. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a gradient on my greeting here. Then we'll go ahead and add this to our shadow. Just using a little bit of glue here. We're going to pop up our greeting. And I'm going to place it on our card here. Okay, and then for finishing touches, I want to bring in some of my Spellbinders Opalescent gems. This is Spellbinders Teal, which goes perfect with the waterfall cardstock. And we're just going to add a few sequins, keeping it nice and two-toned. And lastly, I'm bringing in some scratch paper, and I'm going to bring in some sheer shimmer spritz. We're going to add some sparkle to the entire card. And that will finish off this card. Now for my second card, we're going to bring in an extra die set. I'm bringing in, and I thought we would cut out a window. We're going to cut out a window in this panel with the Spellbinder Stylish Ovals die set. I'm going to line this up in the middle. Actually, we could use some of this Post-it note tape. We'll tack it down. And this is the card front panel. I'm just making sure it's centered. And you know what? I'm going to flip this over because I have adhesive here from when we did our embossing. What I like to do, here's a little tip. When you're finished with your foam square sheets, okay, keep them. You know why? Because if you have adhesive, you can actually cover it on the back when you run it through your die cut machine, and it won't, your cardstock won't stick to your plate. And I'll show you another reason why I keep those negative release paper sheets. Another reason, I ran this through already, but I do want to mention another reason why I keep these is because if I have extra foam tape for my foam tape rolls, let me show you. For my foam tape rolls, I put them on here if I have leftovers. That way I don't waste. I used to put it on the side of the foam tape roll here, but it'd make a big mess. So I just keep the the release paper sheets. When this one's done, I'll keep it. And then I always have extra. And it works really handy with for background stamps, for example, if you have adhesive on here or you don't want it to stick to your die cutting plate. Once we have this die cut, I'm going to flip this over, put foam tape on it. For example, I have this big old piece left over, and then this just releases really easily like it would the foam squares. I don't have to worry about it sticking. So keep those extra sheets from your foam tape. Okay, they come in really handy. I'm going to remove the release paper, and what I'm going to do is take I'm going to go ahead and add my greenery here. I'm going to tack it where I want it, and if I have any overhanging, I'm going to trim it away, and then I'm going to place this on my card base. This way, this one's directly on my card base, and then I have a little dimension to it in that window, kind of shining the spotlight in that window there. Okay, and you can save this for another card if you wanted to. For my grading on this card, I did the same thing, but this time we used thanks. I'm just going to add a little glue behind here, and we're going to tack this on the shadow. I'm doubling up on this foam square because one is going to be outside of that window, and I just want everything nice and even. Okay, I'm going to bring in some more of that twine. I'm going to tie a bow. We'll go ahead and trim the tails. And then I have some Spellbinders Opalescent sequin. These are Aura. I'm not sure if Spellbinders has green opalescent gems. If they do, I'll link that too, because I think the green would go really pretty here. And that will finish off that card. Kind of a real organic looking card. So here's both cards that we made today for Try It Out Tuesday. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you again soon for another card project. Thanks for sticking with me to the end, and have a great day. Bye-bye.